Today's message focuses on what feels like almost energy, the close enough but not quite, barely not there, almost there. I'm channeling for what feels like a group of people who feel they overstayed in some sort of connection, situation. Now, this doesn't have to be love. I think the important part of this message is when you reflect on the length of time, you may feel it was too long, like you overstayed in something, whatever this is. Now, your energy is much, much different than whoever this separate thing is for you. Where it really differs is yours seems to be lingering, and I don't think this is lingering in the sense where you'll take them back or you'll go back to this. I think this is purely energetic. Something here is unfinished, it's unresolved, and maybe that will be what this message focuses on. It's just something is unfinished, something is suspended on your end. Whoever this separate thing is for you, they don't have the lingering energy as much as you do. They generate some sort of power, some sort of stimulation from separation, as where you might draw power from closeness, from connection. And maybe you saw this during your time with them. You felt this. It never really kind of made sense why they chose to separate, why they moved further away. I kind of see this as their way to regain power, to regain stimulation. It's important to them for some reason, which is the opposite of your energy. This message is very interesting because whoever this second energy is for you, they had a very, very specific effect on you and vice versa. And I think this message is going to talk about the different ways in which you two both imprinted on each other, for lack of better words. It will discuss, I think, why you stayed longer than you felt you should have, but there is an emphasis on that being just a feeling. Divine timing is at play here, so I sense you maybe just feel that you stayed too long, but you in fact stayed just the right amount of time for divine timing, and there was a bigger purpose here at play. So this message is for those who feel lingering energy. They feel they stayed too long in something. If that sounds or resonates with you, then this is your message. This connection is potent, and I don't say that lightly. I feel truly submerged in my own feelings right now as your reader. I don't know how anyone wouldn't stay in this feeling because it's so powerful on both ends. It's so unique. This is definitely more than affection or typical attraction. This is powered through what looks like is your becoming energy, and that's why it feels so intense to me. That's why it's so potent. I have to kind of explain what becoming energy is here because it's so distinct from an energy standpoint. Is your becoming energy is essentially your transformational energy, and you might very well be an alchemist from how strong I'm picking this up to be. A good way to tell if you are an alchemist, you might already suspect that you are, but if you don't, if you have been through a lot of difficult experiences, traumas, pain, people pushing you down, but you never allowed those traumas to really affect your outcomes, like you always kind of came out on top, you could very well be a very, very strong, powerful alchemist from the energy that's coming through here today. Now, where this is important is in this connection, you could probably have felt like you acted without logic, like a whole other part of you was kind of in control from your normal, typical control panel, from your control functioning. And the reason is this connection had what looks like an influence, an intoxication on you, because the connection point between the two of you that existed only exists in a very small percentage of energetic possibilities. And where this is unique is this isn't like a classic trauma connection. This isn't like what Carl Jung talks about when he says, we find our mirrors that reflect our wounds to each other. This is more a divinely placed connection that needed a precise point of your evolution, of your becoming energy to transform you specifically. So you were at a very, very fragile, delicate point where your energy was radiating. It was completely full of this becoming energy, this very powerful, potent stage in your transformational evolution. And this person was drawn, they were orbited to that becoming energy because of the rare undertone of it. Because this energy isn't often present in people, their becoming energy is very rare. So here's where things get really interesting. You pulled this person into orbit because you represented a frequency they did not have access to. The best way I could describe this is it's like being out of someone's league. It's that type of thing, but not in a literal social status kind of way. It's more of like the energy itself has a knowing they don't deserve your energy yet. They are not in a place to have full access to it. So on their side, the intoxication from this connection comes from you being just out of their reach, just out of their energy deserving, but still choosing to stay. And so they were drawing energy from your becoming energy, from you being in your becoming energy, being in this rare place, but pausing your becoming and staying, and that showing and reflecting to them that they had access to what they didn't yet deserve. And so that made them drunk, that made them intoxicated on you. A couple of things that are coming through with this too that are very specific is you could be in a place where you are uncertain about your future. It seems foggy, it seems unclear. There's a very specific note on that I'm going to leave in the description because there's kind of a lot here. It relates to this connection as a whole, your fogginess of the future. And the second thing coming through that seems very specific is this person could have done what looks like very risky, very brave things around your energy, around your becoming frequency. And it's coming through specifically as they could have like quit a job or taken risks or did something brave and out of character that you wouldn't expect them to. And that's because your becoming energy was rubbing off on them. It was fueling them to be brave. And when you left or when you walked away from this connection, reality kind of settled back in for this person and they kind of had to double down on their lack of bravery. They kind of had to realize, oh shit, what did I do? That wasn't me. It was because that wasn't them. That was your energy. So I'm not exactly sure if they did take job risks, but they could have just done something more generally brave. And Spirit wants you to know that that was your energy reflecting back to you with their actions, is they took these chances, they took these risks that were out of character to show you you were in your becoming energy at that point. And that was how powerful it was, is that it rubbed off on this other person. They were able to take some of that just because of how potent it was. So the message from Spirit today is very distinct. It has two parts. It has one part that helps describe why this connection was so intoxicating, why you had difficulty leaving in the first place. And then the second part is explaining or clarifying this lingering energy to you in your current state. So Spirit emphasizes their orbit around your becoming energy and how rare, again, becoming energy really is you only have a few moments, a few times of this energy in your lifetime. And it usually is either specific to a major shift or an enlightenment period. So there's one large becoming energy that happens before awakening, right before awakening. And then there's timeline shifting that could happen thereafter, but they're not frequent at all. They're very rare. And so it's coming through that it could be either of those situations, but the important part that's stressed here is how rare becoming energy is, because not everyone is even an alchemist to begin with, but there's a rare crossing here between you being a powerful alchemist and then you also having one of your most rarest timeline shifts. And so the intoxication part that shows up here, this consuming force with this connection, this reason you stayed so long, there's two sides to this. There's what looks like what you saw in them, which is this very strong blueprint of their potential, of the vision of them. And this comes from a rare ability to be able to see through the human level noise of people and go into the depths of their soul. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse, and it might come with your alchemy ability. It definitely keeps you in situations for a longer time than others, but the benefit is you see the truth of people. You feel that energy. You see to the core of a person. And the core of this person is that they are good. They do have the potential that you saw. That blueprint isn't delusion. It is real. It is within them. And so the intoxication on your side, this like drunk feeling that you had with this person, the reason it felt like something else took over and you couldn't logically behave like you normally would is that the almost energy was present here. It was that they were almost reaching their potential, but not quite. And that kind of created this like drunk feeling, like every day was a risk. Every day was like unsure. Are they going to meet their potential or are they going to fall backwards? And that kind of put you in this state of perpetual drunkenness. Is like, even if you didn't like the feelings of them not reaching their potential, the uncertainty was what kept you drunk. It was what kept you intoxicated, because every day was a risk. You didn't know what was going to happen. And on their end, their almost energy was very much that you were in your becoming state. You were this being that was going to transform into something powerful, into something alchemical, but you chose to stay with them based on their potential. So the risk there, the almost energy there was them asking themselves every day, is this person going to leave or are they going to choose? And the fact that they didn't know and they didn't have that certainty left them in that drunk intoxication stage. So the intoxication from both ends here is coming from this almost energy, this risky energy, where every day the two of you could both choose something different, but you didn't. And that's why this like drunk energy keeps coming through very powerfully, very potent. So that's why it may have felt like you both weren't in a state of logical decision making. Is the energy here is drunk. The energy here is intoxicated because you both experienced a level of almost, and it kept you perpetually in this state of what are they going to do next? And that was the anticipation. That was the intoxication of why you both stayed. This drunk state is what keeps you acting like you wouldn't normally act. The second part of this is it looks like there's a really specific message here for you from Spirit, is like with this lingering energy that still exists, with what you're experiencing is an unfinished cycle, it's not complete. It's still suspended out there. And if this all resonated with you, there's a note here for completion of an unfinished loop to be able to stop that lingering energy. What basically happened from this almost energy is, since you were in your most delicate and precious state of becoming, the creation energy that was supposed to go to you, which supposed to is a hard word because, again, this was divine timing, right? Like it happened for a reason. You didn't mess up by doing this, but by putting your creation energy that you poured into them at this time, they never reached their potential. They never finished that loop, right? So now that potential is suspended out into their energy. It hasn't completed. It's unfinished. And so it's stuck there. And so Spirit highlights this because this incomplete suspended energy requires completion to stop the symptom, which is this lingering, persistent ping that you keep getting from them. And the way to really stop the lingering cycle is found through creative expression, what looks like here. That is things you might already be doing, like art, writing, music, friends, things that you're pouring into your own becoming, your own field. And every time you do that, you're kind of like taking that suspended energy and you're reclaiming it for yourself. That energy you poured into them, it never really became. They never really reached their potential. And so it's not that you're stuck on them forever. It's not that it's going to linger indefinitely. It's just kind of signaling to you that there's still more to fill. You had a lot of becoming energy that you put into them that you maybe don't recognize. It was very, very powerful at that time. That's why Spirit wanted to explain to you about their bravery, right? Like you are just a powerful hub. And so a lot of it still stays suspended out there because you have a lot more left to pour into yourself, to pour into your cup. And the emphasis here from Spirit is that the lingering feeling that you still feel is like a signal that there's still more that's suspended out there. And it means to keep filling, to overflow the cup. You're not done yet. It's kind of a beautiful message because it just shows how much creation potential you have, how much your becoming energy was so potent. It's not like oh God, I have to keep doing this. It's like wow, I was freaking powerful to have all of this still out there. So the message for you is to make that cup overflow. Don't stop. We are experimenting. This is an experiment. I've been kind of like reflecting on why these outros have felt so not right anymore. And I got this profound comment that kind of changed my perspective on outros. Is I was trying to sit with my feelings on them and a new direction. And I got a comment that I'm going to paraphrase where it basically said, why can't you just talk to us? Why does it have to be a formal, this and that? Why can't it just be your thoughts, your feelings, just casual shit? And I was like, yeah, why can't it be that? And it just really sat with me because for some reason I had it in my mind that it needed to be this formal, here's what you do to help the energy, or here's all the housekeeping or whatever else. And this comment really disrupted that because it was like, no, it could just be chill. And so my new thought is kind of crossing with a path that I had a long time ago. If you've been with my channel for a little bit, is I had this experimental video a while back that basically did a Q&A, and it touched on a majority of comments that I get and responded to them. And it kind of kept the neutrality of keeping the energy and protecting the energy, but still engaging with you all in a way that shows my devotion to you. And it shows that I really do read every single one of the comments incessantly. And so, yeah, let me know what you guys think of just me getting on here and either asking you questions, just random stuff that comes from comments, things I get a lot. Maybe it could be a good way to talk to you all about things that keep coming up and things that change, because constantly, things are changing, feedback is changing. And so this might be a better way to be more adaptable. And keep leaving comments, keep leaving nudges. It helps me channel for you the most efficiently. And I want to always be able to do that. I love you guys so much. Cheers, friends.